Well, summer is finally here, and that means Elmira Pioneer Baseball is underway. And on this month's episode of Sports Talk, sponsored by Simmons Rockwell, GMC, Hesselson's, and Elite Therapy, we've got you covered.
We'll go inside the clubhouse and talk to head coach Matt Burch and the players as Elmira looks to win their first PGCBL championship, plus a behind-the-scenes look at what it takes to run the organization. Don't go anywhere because Sports Talk starts right now. Welcome to this edition of WENY's Sports Talk. From Dan Fates, I'm Jenna Hearn, and this month it's all about the Pioneers and their journey to win a title.
Yeah, it's all about the championship this season. So I sat down with head coach Matt Burch in his office to learn more about baseball in the Twin Tiers and what it takes to win it all. I'm now joined by head coach of the Elmira Pioneers in his office, Matt Burch. Coach, thanks for letting me come in here and ruin your day.
Invading the space.
Invading the space. That's probably the best way of putting it. Well, now we'll get right to it. From Edison grad, being from the Twin Tiers, what's baseball like, and how important is it to Elmira?
I think the tradition is extremely important to the baseball fans in Elmira. You know, the talk about affiliated baseball being in here for so many years, and I think it's a neat tradition. Brian Hill got a message the other day from a friend who was watching a Yankee game, and the commentators, the analysts on that game were mentioning how they started their career here in Elmira. So
wow.
It's just a neat thing. You get to the Ripkins and to the Weavers to Don Zimmer, then all the way back to the canned stories of Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig coming through here. So I like to think that and these grounds are hallowed, and these guys that are here right now, someday somebody will say the same about them.
Pretty crazy. Think about it, all those guys have come through here, just little old Elmira.
Yep.
Best part about coaching here and coaching the Pioneers, what's the best part?
I think the best part is, the facility offers us a chance to help these guys get better. A lot of places don't have an office, they don't have a clubhouse, they don't have a training staff, and we have those things. We have a good relationship, Donnie Robinelli, with the city, so that we can get out here and get pregame fundamentals in. And
flip side, what's the toughest part about coaching the Elmira Pioneers?
I think the toughest part is the fact that we're able to recruit such a talented roster, making sure each of these guys has a fair opportunity to play offense, defense, pitch. So, Brian, Archie, and I, we really try to pay attention to at-bats and innings pitched and make sure there's equity amongst our guys so that they are able to maximize their experience here in Elmira. We want them to get better for themselves, for their teams, while Elmira wins. So it's a nifty balance between opportunities for them and opportunities for the Elmira Pioneers.
So it is kind of that juggling act, right?
Yeah, sometimes it is a juggling act for sure, but there are nights where it's an embarrassment of riches. We have a very talented roster, so there could be any given night where we have 4 or 5 guys that are not in our starting lineup that would never come out of another lineup. So there has to be a buy-in from the players as well. There's a give and a take. You come to Elmira, you're going to have the support of sometimes 5,000 fans a night. You're going to have the support of the coaching staff, but that comes with a cost too. So sometimes that may mean playing 2 off 1. That may be playing 3 off 2. But when it's your turn to play, you need to perform, and that's part of the give and take here in Elmira.
Like you said, about this roster, what's special about it? We know of all the Division I players, but what did they do really well, or maybe what surprised you so far this summer?
I think that they have found a way to work every day. They found a way to manage their time and manage their baseball time when they get to the ball field. Although there is a considerable structure, there's also enough time in there for them to get lost if they want to. These guys have done a nice job between ping pong games and flipping, spitting seeds. They found enough time to take extra batting practice, extra ground balls, and particularly with the pitching staff, those guys are off to such a good start that the next guy out does not want to be the one to lay an egg. So they want to make sure they're competing within this team to make sure they maintain their ability. I was reading an article a couple weeks ago, and I cannot remember what article it was, and I was telling the guys, but the line that stood out in the article was iron sharpens iron. Yeah. So if you are not willing or able to maximize your potential, somebody will end up taking your spot. And I think that's really helped motivate these guys.
Your coaching style, what is it? Because you've also embraced this style of baseball's a grind, right? That's what you hear all the time. And we've talked about it, kind of over the years, but you want to embrace that grind. You want to embrace that challenge of coming to the ballpark every day, right?
Yeah,
Make it fun?
Yeah, that's kind of my thing where I don't even like the word grind. We don't use it. I want them to enjoy the process. Enjoy that process of getting better. Because I think when you say, okay, we got to grind it out, that's monotony, that's boring, and that's kind of laborious. So I want these guys to enjoy taking 50 to 100 extra ground balls. I want that to be fun. I want the pitching process to be fun. I want keeping your hands inside the baseball. I want it to be a fun process. So, again, the three of us, Brian, Archie, myself, we try to make it a point to have a relationship with each guy every day. Say hi to each guy every day to make sure they know that we're still having fun with them too. So there are times where we have to amp it up a little bit. For the most part, it's a lighthearted environment where there's a mutual respect between players and coaching staff, ownership, and it tends to lead to everyone wanting to be here every day.
Right.
And it's fun. It's fun for these guys to be involved in the community. So, it's been something spectacular the last couple of years. We've had several kids runs that they've lasted literally 2 and 3 minutes long because there are so many little bodies that want to get across the infield. So, all that stuff, it makes it fun, and it's very unique here. You've been on the road, Dan, with us, and there's places where there are more players than fans.
Yep.
So that's a credit. That's a credit to ownership, Donnie, Nelly, Robbie, and the interns who work hard to bring people in. But it's also a credit to the sponsorships. So these people who were willing to trust that vision by this group to bring some life back to this ballpark. And it's been a relationship and a partnership between the community, the ownership, the players that come in here, and our coaching staff.
It's special. Finally, you've been a part of a lot of teams, pro and all that stuff. Winning, you've been a coaching side, you've been on the playing side. What does it take to win it all? Is there secret formula, or is it just luck's got to be involved, right?
Yeah, things have to line up to win championships. You have to be playing good. Baseball at the end of the season, your pitching staff has to line up, your health has to be there. So it does take some fortunate some fortunate things to occur while you're going down that stretch. Last year, Mohawk Valley won the league, and I don't think they had the best roster, but they were certainly playing the best baseball at the right time. And, last summer we got beat by Victor 2-0, and our roster certainly better, more talented. Victor was pitching at the time. They were pitching, and we weren't hitting, so that was the perfect storm for disaster for us. We scored 1 run in 18 innings of playoff baseball. I hope that this roster, as deep as we are, I hope that internal competition drives us throughout the entire summer. So, I don't foresee one guy playing over another yet. And I say yet on purpose because I think
that's a good problem to have.
It'll get to the point where somebody has to play in those tight games, so it's going to have to be the best player, and typically the best player is the best statistical player. So, I try to stress that stat line to them. This is your motivation here. Try to get those RBIs up, that batting average, extra base hits. So.
Yeah. Well, best of luck, and we hope to bring another championship here.
Thanks, Dan.
You got it. And coming up, we'll take a look to see what it takes to run a baseball team. We'll sit down with co-owner Don Lewis to get a behind-the-scenes look.
Don't go anywhere. Sports Talk, sponsored by Simmons, Rockwell, GMC, Hesselson's, and Elite Therapy. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. As Matt Burch and the Pios look to take care of business on the field, there's a whole nother monster to tame off of it as well.
So I sat down with co-owner Don Lewis to hear about what it takes to run the operation so that all of us can enjoy the game. I am here with co-owner Don Lewis of the Elmira Pioneers. Did I get that right?
Yep.
Oh,
yeah.
Great. That's what there we go. What's it like to run a team of this caliber?
It's fun. It's exciting. There's something new every day. Robbie and I, when we took the team on, it was a challenge to bring the fan base back up. When we took the team, I think they were averaging 300-400 fans a game, and this is Robbie and I's livelihood, so we tried to bring as much excitement back as we could. The corporate sponsorship, they welcomed us with open arms, and the fan base has just been incredible. So there's a different challenge every day. Like I was saying, we never know what we're coming into, whether a cooler broke down or the Coke order coming in, and running around getting concessions ready, and it's something new every day.
So take us through kind of, I'm sure there's not really an average type of day, but take us through, the most generic, the most general type of day that you have here.
Yeah, it's exciting. We get here about 6 in the morning, and we'll start prepping the concession stands. We make sure our tickets are ready to go, and all of our group nights, so on and so forth, are ready. And everybody's ready for the game script, which is more or less you put together for your whole game day of what will take place during the game. And then we're running around. We'll run to Sam's Club for last-minute concession items that we may forget. And then by the time we're back here at 10 in the morning, it's time to get ready to roll for everything. So an average day is 6 in the morning till about 1:30 in the morning, so we get about 5 hours of sleep, and then we're right back at it.
And you get up and do it all over again.
We get up and do it again, yeah. We get on each other's nerves once in a while, but especially when it's 2, 3, 4 games in a row, it gets interesting.
And so, you were just mentioning how when you took over this team, you really wanted to bring the fan base up. How did you go about doing that? Obviously, we saw opening weekend was insane.
It's been great. When we took the team over, we didn't know we'd be second in the nation in overall attendance in collegiate baseball. So that's been an exciting part for us, is bringing baseball back to life, and it's doing well in Elmira. Everything's focused on game day experience for Robbie and I when the season starts. Our coaching staff, they take care of all the player needs. I've said it before, and I'll continue to say it. We have the best coaching staff in the league when it comes to that. When it comes to the baseball operations sides of things, they do a great job with the players. The players are young that are coming. So they're a mentor, they're a father, they're a coach, and they do a great job with that. They deal with all player problems. They deal with all the player personnel. So they take a lot of that off Robbie and I. So that's nice that we can just focus on the business part off the field.
So you get the baseball aspect of it more or less, the business side of it all.
Yep, Robbie, and the coaching staff, like I said, they'll take care of everything on the baseball operations, and Robbie and I focus off the field. They know what to do on the field. They know we want to win a championship for the Twin Tiers. That's our main goal, and their goal is to win a championship, make the games exciting on the field, and make us competitive every game.
So what is the challenge, or what are some of the challenges of getting these players in?
I think the biggest is, when we first started out, they had to make a name for themselves. Obviously, Matt Burch has a name being drafted first round, but they have to, these coaches that send their kids here for summer ball, they have to trust that your manager's not going to overthrow them, not going to overplay them, take care of them, in the right way during practice. Make sure they're going to the gym, all that stuff. Make sure they're being adults off the field. And they've done a great job with that, and you can tell now by the recruiting class that they have with Kentucky and, all the Division I kids that we bring in, that they've built a great relationship and a trust with all these coaches. And
for you personally, what's this whole journey been like? What is it like to, have this business and for it to be your own?
It's fun. It's exciting. Robbie and I, we were in hockey before this, and this is our first venture into baseball, and there's nothing more for me off the field that's satisfying than seeing the crowds that we get and the corporate sponsors that are behind us. That's the most satisfying thing, is seeing 3,500 people, 3,000 people, opening weekend 5,200 people at the ballpark. That's the most satisfying thing, that we're putting that we're putting excitement into the stands, that people want to keep coming back, bring their kids out for a fun night of baseball. That's the most exciting thing, was turning it around and making it back to life.
And do you get to watch any of the games at all?
Very little, very little. We make sure that everything's running right, from me doing the fan experience side to Robbie running concession stands, to making sure the garbage isn't overflowing. So there's a lot of things that people don't think about when that stuff's coming on, but we try to sneak a little bit of the game in every time. It's exciting. Like I said, once again, with the people that keep coming back, we know that they're enjoying it. Our season ticket numbers are growing every year, so that goes to show that the experience when you're coming to a game is exciting. When we first took over, we asked people, just give us one try, come to the ballpark and see what it's like, and they just keep coming back. So we think we're on the right track to success.
Clearly it's working for you.
It is. It's exciting.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank
really
you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. And coming up, we go inside the clubhouse to hear from a Pioneer pitcher.
Yeah, Taylor Hearn is no stranger to Elmira, and we'll get his thoughts on what it's like to pitch in front of 5,000 fans. Don't go anywhere. Sports Talk sponsored by Simmons Rockwell GMC, Hesselson's, and Elite Therapy. We'll be right back after the break.
Coach and an owner, and now it's time to talk to the Pioneers themselves.
Yeah, I sat down with ace pitcher Taylor Hearn about the culture of being a Pioneer and what it's like to play in front of a packed Dunn Field. All right, I'm now joined here by Elmira pitcher Taylor Hearn. Taylor, thanks for having some time.
Yeah.
It's an off day for you. Run me through an off day of a pitcher for the Elmira Pioneers.
I mean, we got a 6-day schedule in terms of conditioning and throwing and stuff like that. So usually the day after my start, I'll do 20 minutes of running and get some short tossing in, and then day after day it progresses to more long toss and get distance further and further. And then once you get closer to your game day, you start like based on feel, whatever you feel like doing, listen to your arm and stuff like that.
It's a full-time job this summer, really.
Yeah, it's fun though.
You've wanted to play here now for 3 years. This is your second summer. What is it about baseball here? What's it about playing here?
I mean, definitely the atmosphere. It's definitely something you can't experience somewhere else. Playing in front of 3,000 plus every game is pretty exciting. So there's that, and then you know, the caliber of what Coach Burch brings to the table. It's something that is unique that you can utilize as well.
Right.
And then the guys are always top notch as well. So we always have a good team. We always compete pretty well. So it's a fun atmosphere to play in.
And talk about the competition, because I've talked to some of the other pitchers about it. It's so interesting. I always thought of hitting as contagious. You know, somebody gets a double, the next guy hits a double. You feel like when you go up, you're automatically going to hit a double. Pitching-wise, is that the same thing with throwing shutouts, with getting strikeouts, that competition? You know, the guys were saying they don't want to be the one that gives up the crooked number.
Yeah, exactly. You know, when you have a good staff like ours, it's kind of, there is competition within it. We're all friends anyway, so it's not like heated or I hated competition. It's always like the fun competition. So we try to do our best to, you know, go out there and pitch to our best abilities, and when the hitting's good, and, you know, it gives us a good feeling to go back out there and put up zeros, and especially if a starter goes well, it gives the relief pitchers the confidence to go out there as well. So I think it's a full-on circle.
Yeah. You had the amazing opportunity to pitch on opening night.
Yeah.
Here at Elmira, record crowd, you know, 5,200 screaming Pioneer fans. What was that like being on the mound?
Definitely. I was actually pretty nervous at first. I never pitched in front of that many people before, but tried to calm my nerves, and it was actually a fun time with them, you know, going rooting for me and stuff like that. So if things went bad, I'd probably be yelled at and all that, but I think I did pretty well for my first time doing that.
And, you know, when your last outings, you know, 6 shutout innings, 8 strikeouts. Run me through the mentality when you're on that mound and you're kind of in that zone. You know, that night it just seemed like no matter what you did, you were locked in. And talk about being in that zone as a pitcher.
I mean, that's the thing, is being in the zone is the most important thing. You want to go up there with confidence and trust your stuff, and what's important is to not let outside things get in the way. It's just when you're on the mound, it's just you and the catcher, and just executing your pitches. So I've actually learned a lot in terms of that. Like before, I'd get really nervous and stuff, but lately I was just trying to go out there with confidence and trusting my pitches, trusting my catcher, and you know, just going up there and throwing it.
How have you seen things change maybe from 2014 to now? Has things changed? Has pressure to win a championship increased? Is the locker room better talent? You know, is there anything that's different from when you were here before to when you're here now?
I mean, the team talent is always the same. I think it's around the same, and we came close to a championship, and I know they came close to one last year as well. So I think our team has the ability to, you know, bring a championship to Elmira, and I mean, personally, I really want it, because at my school we can't compete in playoffs because we changed divisions and stuff like that. So, you know, going for a championship now would be pretty cool.
Well, hey, best of luck in the championship journey. Thanks again.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
And when we come back, it's time to talk to another pitcher, but this one has local ties.
Yeah, hear from Danny Madden about his transition from striking out high schoolers to Division I talent. Don't go anywhere. Sports Talk, sponsored by Simmons Rockwell GMC, Hesselson's, and Elite Therapy. We'll be right back. The transition from high school to college is never an easy one, especially when it comes to sports. Yeah, Corning grad Danny Madden can attest to that, as the All-State pitcher is learning to adjust on the fly because Section 4 baseball isn't quite the same as the PGCBL.
It's so much different than high school. You're always playing against kids that just love to play the game of baseball and everything, and it's a faster game. Everything's better, and it's hard to adjust at first, but you catch on pretty quick.
You know, sometimes you have to get thrown in the deep end of the pool. It's that sink or swim learning curve. And for Corning grad Danny Madden, he's taken a big step up from playing Section 4 baseball to now playing with Division I talent on the Elmira Pioneers.
It's trying to get better every day. You're learning new things every day, and just being around kids from all over the country and stuff, they've learned different things. So you're learning from them. You're always learning from someone. And I mean, it's really you're not doing well until, you're down. To get better, you have to get down. So, it helps to be in the situation and play with these types of kids all the time.
But it also helps when you're familiar with your head coach, who just so happened to be an assistant at Corning and a former MLB pitcher. The Corning teenager went from watching the Pioneers as a kid to now playing for them.
Honestly, I never really thought about it when I was a young kid, but now that I'm here, and having Burch around, I've always followed them and stuff. When he asked me to play, it was a great honor. I felt pretty happy about that, and I was glad he asked because this has been one of the greatest experiences I've had.
Last Tuesday, Madden made his first ever start as a Pio, battling kids 3 to 4 years older than him, and also some butterflies.
I was definitely more nervous. Playing in a high school where you get maybe 100 people at the games and stuff, and then the first night I was here, there was 5,000. So, it's definitely different. It's a great experience, and it's a lot more fun. Just coming out to the ball field, there's nothing better than playing baseball all summer long every day. So, I'd say it's been pretty good so far, and, the only way it'd be better if you just kept winning and keep going.
So these next 2 months are like a crash course of summer school on baseball. Madden is heading to St. Bonaventure come the fall, a school that just had former Hornell Dodger pitcher Connor Gray get drafted in the 20th round. For Madden, that's a goal, but he knows it doesn't happen overnight.
Getting there was the first step, but when you're there, it's all about how hard you work when you're there and everything, and it's just seeing kids drafted out of there and stuff, it just makes you want to work harder to get to where they are, and it's going to push you more in the long run, just try to be as good as you can be, and you can't slack off, and there's no room to mess around. It's all about trying to get better every time.
Well, that'll do it for this month's episode. Thanks again to Coach Burch, Don Lewis, and the Pioneers for taking some time to sit down and talk with us.
Yeah, and to our sponsors, Simmons Rockwell, GMC, Hesselson's, and Elite Therapy. And make sure to keep it right here on WENY for all your summer baseball needs. For Jenna Harner, I'm Dan Fates. Have a great night.